a man who taught physics at Mayo College, Ajmer, a man who stabilized a school in Saudi Arabia, in Jammu, before taking over as principal of Alcon International, Delhi in 2003.
If you have to really take this country forward, you have to think in terms of billions. You don't have to think in terms of few people. So let's say, for example, that when he became a prime minister, he remembered his teacher. All of us do not forget the image when he became the prime minister and he went to the Lok Sabha, he bowed down at the staircase. Later on, in the last couple of years, we have seen the world leaders bowing down and touching his feet.
The day we forget that a teacher could be wrong, that was the day the school stopped being a school. एजुकेशन की दुनिया की विशेष शख्सियत को लेकर हाजिर हैं. Our mission on this channel is one sentence long. That is, we exist because we bring Supreme Court level legal clarity to your kitchen. To defend the Constitution of India, to promise the ordinary citizen that we stand by you. Whether that system supports you or it doesn't support you, we keep on raising the voice to make this system ultimately work for you, because the Constitution of India starts with the word we the people of India. आप इसकी आत्मा हैं और इस आत्मा की रक्षार्थ ये चैनल आपके शिकायतों को, आपके अधिकारों को आवाज़ देने का काम करता है. So joining me today at this special episode is the most respected voice in Indian education. A man who taught physics at Mayo College, Ajmer, a man who stabilized a school in Saudi Arabia, in Jammu, before taking over as principal of Alcon International, Delhi in 2003. He went to become the director of the Alcon group of school. He had chaired the National Progressive School Conference, an association of over 200 schools across 9 states. He sits on the advisory board of the National Council of Teacher Education, the CBSC, and the Cambridge International South Asia. Most of all, in 2012, the President of India pinned the National Teachers Award on his chest, which he carries very proudly. He has authored Pedagogical Leadership, Launch Your Principal Leadership, edited The Future School, and just last month at the India Habitat Center, New Delhi, the launch of his latest book, Igniting a Billion Lamps. A quite powerful mediation on what he means to build citizen, not just a candidate, not just a student. It is my honor to welcome to 4C Supreme Law, Dr. Ajay K. Pandey.
Thank
Sir,
you.
namaskar.
Namaste.
Sir, first question is from your book segment itself. The title of your book, Igniting a Billion Lamps, borrows the imagery of a republic, sustained not by one blazing light, but by a billion small ones. When did this image first come to you? Was this a particular classroom moment behind it?
Thank you, Dr. Ajay, for taking me on your show, and congratulations to you. Your viewership has reached 1.2 lakh, 1.25 I believe, and it is still counting, still growing. Congratulations to your work. Thank you for the very kind introduction that you have given. Yes, this title is very, very special to me. Uh, it uh, it occurred to me several times that uh, you know if you have to really take this country forward, you have to think in terms of billions. You don't have to think in terms of few people. And that is what our democracy is. That is what our value is. We are the largest democracy in the world. We are the fourth largest economy. We have done extremely well on several fronts, but there are a lot of challenges at the same time. And those challenges can be met only when we have good, high quality education for all, good health services, good infrastructure, good social harmony, lifestyle, and we are able to realize the dream of Vishwa Guru, as we call it, and Vishwa Mitra. I think that is even a larger and deeper philosophy. And for that, I think we have to ignite each other. And that is how this whole title, Igniting a Billion Lamps. But this ignition has to begin somewhere. And that is where the leadership comes into the picture. And that is why this book is a classroom pedagogical translation of the leadership values of the current Prime Minister. And many people think that it is a biography, many people think it is a political commentary. No, it is a pedagogical lessons from the life of the Prime Minister. So that is basically the origin of this book.
Yes, I was about to come on this second question itself, which you have captured yourself, answered yourself, sir. कि आप कहते हैं कि ये किताब प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी से इंस्पायर्ड है, ये बायोग्राफी भी नहीं है, ये पॉलिटिकल कमेंट्री नहीं है. तो आप हमारे दर्शकों को, हमारे श्रोताओं को ज़रा समझाएं कि फिर आखिर ये है क्या. लीन लीडरशिप लेसन फ्रॉम ए पब्लिक फिगर and that too without politics.
So, all public figures are not in politics. This is number one. And therefore, every public figure has to be somewhere, So you could be in politics, you could be in education, you could be in art, you could be a scientist, any public figure. So Vikram Sarabhai was not a politician. You see, artists are not politicians. So a politician is also a public figure. So that is the distinction I wish to make. But the larger picture here is that there is a podcaster. We are doing a podcast, so we must remember him, and I want to pay my gratitude to him, Lex Friedman, whom I have quoted at several places in my book. So actually, he became the motivator and inspiration for me, and he did a podcast with the Prime Minister for 3 hours. And he does these podcasts only 3 hours, 4 hours, and does not do many podcasts in a year. And in that podcast, apart from the general questions and answers which go on in any conversation, I think he was brilliant in the sense that he brought out something from the Prime Minister which nobody else has been able to do so far. He might have given his podcasts, his interviews, his own public statements, his speeches, but that inner self has not come out at least as much as it has come out in that podcast. So he has explained his childhood experiences. So let's say, for example, that when he became a Prime Minister, he remembered his teacher. All of us do not forget the image when he became the Prime Minister and he went to the Lok Sabha, he bowed down at the staircase. Later on, in the last couple of years, we have seen the world leaders bowing down and touching his feet. So I think his personality and his impact has gone beyond politics. So what is that? How does a person become so charismatic that from an opera singer to the head of a state, and in both their cultures, touching feet is not the part of the culture, and still they are prepared to bow down It means there is something in that person, and there is something in that person from the culture that person comes from. So I think it is so much about India's culture and heritage, and also so much about that person. So what could be the educational lessons from that? That is the idea.
That's great.
That's the idea.
But Shakespeare, you being a physics teacher, and if I am trying to find some connect from your concept, from your idea, the igniting the billion lamps, Shakespeare said in Arms and the Man that, no, sorry, in Arms and the Man, the author said that it is the duty of every human being to leave the path lit from where he had joined.
Absolutely.
Shakespeare also said that in our lifetime, if we can do at least lit one candle, और फिर हमारे उपनिषदों में तो तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गम्य, अस्तोमा सद्मय गम्य, और आओ हम वेद की तरफ चलें. तो वहाँ से हमारी उदात्त संस्कृति से लेके इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, और फिर प्राइम मिनिस्टर में इसका जीवंत रूप देख के इसको किताबों में आपने जिस तरह से उकेरा है, कलमबद्ध किया है, और जिस तरह का आपको रिस्पांस मिला इस किताब में, मैं आपके लॉन्च फंक्शन में मौजूद था, तो और जिस तरह की चैलेंजेस से अभी मतलब पूरा एजुकेशन सिस्टम जिसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे अभी गुजर रहा है, तो क्या क्या मतलब आपको लगता है कि एटलीस्ट ए स्टेप आपने वो बत्ती तो जला ही है, लेकिन वो आगे क्या वो प्रकाश?
तो देखिए डॉक्टर अजय, आपने बड़ी अच्छी बात कही है. तो देखिए, प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स और प्रेसिडेंट्स होते हैं कंट्रीज़ में, और उनकी अपनी एक राजनीतिक परिधि होती है, लेकिन हर व्यक्ति का एक ग्लोबल दायरा भी होता है. और एक ऐसा प्राइम मिनिस्टर कि मैं आपको 2 या 3 स्टैटिस्टिक्स दे रहा हूँ, जो कि हमारी किताब का जो 13वां चैप्टर है वो स्टैटिस्टिक्स के ऊपर है. तो 2014 से और 2025 के बीच में, इसमें जो हमने डेटा दिया है 2025 तक का, जब किताब छपने के लिए तैयार थी. तो अब आप ये बताएं कि भारतवर्ष के लगभग सभी गांव इलेक्ट्रीफाइड हो गए, लगभग 95% घरों में पाइप्ड वाटर से कनेक्शन हो गए, नॉन रीन्यूएबल और रीन्यूएबल एनर्जी का जो एक बहुत दिनों से विवाद इस देश में चला रहा था, वो विवाद भी सेटल हो गया कि अब हम जो है रीन्यूएबल एनर्जी का प्रतिशत पिछले 10 वर्षों में 22% तक अपनी पूरी एनर्जी का खर्चा हमारा उन सोर्सेस से आ रहा है. जन धन योजना की आप बात कर लीजिए, 50 करोड़ से ज़्यादा लोग ज़ीरो बैंक अकाउंट, ज़ीरो डिपॉजिट से बैंक अकाउंट खोल दिया उन्होंने. तो ये सब जो है लिटिंग द लैम्प है. पिछले 10 वर्षों में 25 करोड़ लोग एक्सट्रीम पावर्टी लाइन से ऊपर निकल चुके हैं. तो मैं कहना ये चाहता हूँ कि हर व्यक्ति के जीवन का अपने प्रोफेशन के अलावा उसका एक लक्ष्य होना चाहिए. कि जैसा कि आपने खुद भी अभी कहा कि एक अध्यापक जो है वो 1, 2, 10, 50, 100 बच्चों की ज़िंदगियों को संवार रहा है, तो वही तो जाकर के दे विल स्टार्ट लिटिंग अनदर लैम्प्स. तो कोई भी एक व्यक्ति एक साथ बिलियन लैम्प्स को नहीं लिट कर सकता, लेकिन एक ये चेन रिएक्शन है. इट इज़ अनलीशिंग ऑफ लिटिंग द लैम्प, और सबके जीवन का यही उद्देश्य होना चाहिए. तो हमारे शिक्षा में तो यही कहा है कि विद्या ददाति विनयम. तो अगर हमें वो विनय आ जाए, उस विनय से हमारी पात्रता आ जाए, हमें धन प्राप्ति हो जाए, और उस धन प्राप्ति को अपनी आवश्यकता के अनुसार रख करके फिर हम लोक कल्याण में उसको लगाने की कोशिश करें, यही तो है शिक्षा का उद्देश्य, और ये हमारी शिक्षा का उद्देश्य है. तो इसी वजह से हमने अपने टीचर्स को, मैं खुद भी ये कहता हूँ कि आप अध्यापक हैं, आपका एक व्यवसाय है, आपकी पारिवारिक जिम्मेदारियाँ हैं, लेकिन उन सब से ऊपर उठ के आप एक बच्चे के जीवन में कितना परिवर्तन ला सकते हैं, इसके बारे में सोचिए. यही हमारा उद्देश्य होना चाहिए.
So that takes me back to year 1983 when you start your career at a Rotary Public School in Gurgaon.
जी
From there to Mayo College, फिर वहाँ से इंटरनेशनल स्कूल इन सऊदी अरबिया, DPS जम्मू, एलकॉम. एक ऐसी आदत क्लासरूम की जो आज भी जिंदा है.
तो सबसे एक छोटी सी घटना ही मैं बता देता हूँ और वही इस मेरे ख्याल में प्रश्न का उत्तर भी हो जाएगा कि हर अध्यापक ये सोचता है कि वो बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए आया. बहुत कम अध्यापक ऐसा होता है जो सोचते हो कि मुझे भी बच्चों से सीखना है.
दिमाग
और मैं अपने अध्यापन जीवन, मेरा ये सौभाग्य था, अपने अध्यापन जीवन के तीसरे महीने में ही ये शिक्षा मिली. छोटा सा एक बच्चा 14 साल का, 13 साल का मेरे पास आया और कहता है कि सर मुझे पता है कि आप जो फिज़िक्स पढ़ा रहे हैं वो मेरे समझ में नहीं आ रही और मैं फ़िज़िक्स में कुछ कर नहीं पा रहा, आप मुझसे बड़े दुखी भी होंगे. मैंने कहा नहीं, मैंने तो ऐसा कभी नहीं कहा कि मैं दुखी हूँ. नहीं सर मुझे पता है, हर टीचर चाहता है कि उसका बच्चा जो है अच्छा करे. देखिए 13 साल का बच्चा, एक उस समय मेरी उम्र 24-25 साल रही होगी, उसको ये समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा. मैंने कहा अच्छा बताओ फिर मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. कहता सर आप मुझे एक्स्ट्रा टाइम दीजिए, रेजिडेंशियल स्कूल था तो शाम को भी हम लोग हैं यहाँ पे, आप मुझे एक्स्ट्रा टाइम दीजिए, मैं अच्छा कर लूँगा. मैंने कहा बिल्कुल ठीक है, मैं भी यहीं हूँ, तुम भी यहीं हो, हम करेंगे ऐसा. फिर वो बच्चा कहता है कि सर लेकिन मैं ये फ्री में नहीं करवाऊँगा. अब और भी मेरे हाथ पाँव फूल गए, अब ये क्या कहना चाहता है. कहता सर आप घबराइए नहीं, मुझे पता है कि आपको स्क्वॉश खेलना नहीं आता.
वेरी गुड.
13 साल का बच्चा अपने टीचर से कह रहा है मुझे पता है आपको स्क्वॉश खेलना नहीं आता, मैं आपको स्क्वॉश खिलाऊंगा और आप मुझे फिजिक्स पढ़ाइए. तो मैंने स्क्वॉश खेलना उस बच्चे के साथ शुरू किया. उसने मुझे रैकेट पकड़ना, बॉल के बारे में, कोर्ट के बारे में, डायमेंशंस के बारे में, सब कुछ उसने. ही वॉज माई कोच. और मैं अच्छा खासा खेल के जब मैं दूसरे विद्यालय में गया तो मैं वहाँ स्क्वॉश का कोच बन गया.
वेरी गुड.
अपने विद्यार्थी जीवन में मैं स्क्वॉश का टूर्नामेंट नहीं खेला, लेकिन 30+ टूर्नामेंट जो एडल्ट्स का होता है और वेटरन्स का होता है वो मैं 10 साल तक वो टूर्नामेंट खेला. उसके बाद मैं नहीं समझता कि इतना बड़ा योगदान मैं उसके जीवन में कर पाया कि नहीं, क्योंकि वो 10th में मैंने फिजिक्स पढ़ाई, वो पास हो गया. 12th में उसने कॉमर्स ले लिया, वो जीवन में बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है, ये बात दूसरी है, लेकिन मैंने वो योगदान उसको नहीं दे पाया जो मुझे दिया. तो ये एक छोटा सा लेकिन बहुत ही जीवन में एक ऐसा सिग्निफिकेंस ये पैदा करता है कि टीचर्स बच्चों से सीखते हैं. और वहीं पे स्वामी विवेकानंद की बात ये आती है कि आप ये सोचते हैं कि आप बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं, सिखा रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं. देयर इज़ अ परफेक्शन विद इन द चाइल्ड, एंड इट इज़ दैट परफेक्शन दैट as a teacher, as an adult, as a parent, as an expert, you have to manifest. So it is the manifestation of that perfection within the child that is our job. I think that has stuck with me till today. So whenever I talk to a child, whether that child is 5 years old or 15 years old or 18 years old, I first see that there is a spark in that child, and it is that divinity that attracts me first. And I talk to him or her at that level.
आज के हमारे सारे दर्शक जो ये एपिसोड देख रहे हैं, आप कहीं ना कहीं एक पेरेंट भी हैं, कई लोग आप इसमें टीचर भी होंगे. बीइंग ए लॉयर, आप भी टीचर हैं अपने जूनियर्स लॉयर्स के. जजेस, आप भी टीचर हैं पूरे बार के बेंच के. तो आई थिंक डॉक्टर पांडे का अगर ये कॉन्सेप्ट शायद आपको अंदर तक टच करेगा, आपको कहीं जोड़ेगा और आप अपनी सोच बदलने पे एक बार रुक कर सोचेंगे. और शायद इस नई सोच से, नई दिशा से हमारे समाज की बहुत सारी समस्याएं, स्पेशली कानून की समस्याएं भी समाप्त हो जाएंगी और उससे समाप्त होगी कोर्ट में तारीखों की समस्या. सर, द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया पिnned the National Teachers Award on you in 2012. What changed after that in your schools? What changed among the parents about you, their thought process? How the politicians started treating you next day morning?
इसके पहले मैं ये बताऊंगा कि what that meant to me on that particular day, that particular moment. I think that's very important. And you will be very happy to know. Of course, it is a personal achievement. You can say a milestone, a landmark in anybody's life when the President of the Republic is pinning that award to you, which in my time it was 200 plus people who are getting this award every year, which is still not a very large number in a country of our size. Now that award is available only to 50 people every year. So anyway, it meant personally to me, I'm proud of that. But there is a very, very long, personal, touching story behind it. I was a student of a village middle school in my village, and my village middle school headmaster was a very good teacher in that area, and his reputation, you know, spread miles and miles around that school for one simple reason that every year middle school used to be a board exam in Uttar Pradesh at that time. I'm one of the very few people that I wrote my board exam in class 5, class 8, class 10, class 12. So perhaps the maximum number of board exams I have written in my life. So anyway, my headmaster, Shri, with all due respect, I'm taking his name, Shri Shukdev Prasad Yadav, SP Yadav, he was known as. And he, because of his continued good result, his hard work, his commitment, his dedication, he was awarded the President Award
Those days.
in that village. And Dr. Radhakrishnan was the president at that time. So as a school student, youngsters, we saw that an elephant was brought on the campus. Elephant was decorated like a bride. He was mounted there, and with the beats of drums and nagaras and dhol, he was mounted on that. From there, he traveled to the nearest railway station to catch a train to come to Delhi to receive the award. So that image never went out of my mind and heart. So imagine when I got the same award, it meant a lot to me. And most naturally and honestly, I dedicated that award to my headmaster. So that was the meaning of that award to me, personally. But yes, that award made me very humble. It made me conscious of my responsibilities, that nobody should tell me tomorrow that, look, he is a national awardee and he has not done it the way he should have done it. You know, so it brought more of a consciousness, more of a humility. And of course, I mean, the people, they started showing their respect for me in the sense that, oh, he's a national awardee. But that is not very important to me. What is important to me is that that award came to me since those days, which I never thought that, no, I have to get the award. Nor did I work for that award, because there is no particular way that you will work. It is not a competitive examination that you prepare for that. It happens. In my time, it used to happen only through nomination. Now one applies to get it. So that was the difference. So that is what it means. More humble, more conscious, but one thing I'll tell you, which is perhaps for the viewers it will be more important. Anybody in any profession, I was the leader, and that award came to me. But that award did not come to me for my personal accomplishments. That award came to me because how it impacted people, how it impacted the students, how it impacted the teachers, how it impacted the parents. It was a sum total of that. And therefore, that award was a collective reflection of what is happening in the ecosystem of the school where I was working. And therefore, that award goes to them as well. So that is something that we should never forget. And the third very important aspect of that award is that I got the award. What next? If I am a leader and if I'm not able to work with my team in a manner that others also in my team become worthy of that award, till then it does not give me any satisfaction. And you will be happy to know that post that, between 2013 to 2019, until when I was the active principal in that school, 9 more people got not that award, but the national award given by the Central Board of Secondary Education.
Great.
I think that gives me more satisfaction than the personal award I got in 2012.
Great. That again brings me to the title of the book. So, one lamp was lit for you by the President Award,
Yeah,
and you passed it on to 9
absolutely.
people.
Yes, absolutely.
So, in this book, you argues about a republic being built by lamps, lit with care, passed on with the trust,
Trust.
and protected by those who teach, who lead,
Fully.
and who serve. In 2026, do you genuinely, honestly feel that the average Indian teacher is trusted by parent anymore? If not, when did this trust break?
So, first of all, if we talk of average Indian parent, let me tell you, average Indian parent. So, when we say average Indian parent, 300 million children go to a school in this country. I'm not talking of college and other. 30 crore, let's say, if that is the common language people appreciate. 30 crore, which means on an average, 60 crore parents, mother and father.
Yes.
So 60 crore parents or people of this country are linked or associated with schools. You see, if on an average, if these 60 crore people do not trust the teachers, I think our education system will collapse. Which means the trust has declined, but it has not altogether evaporated. It has not eroded to a very significant level. But yes, there is a decline. There is a decline. There is no doubt about it. But even that decline is not uniform, because our education system itself is not uniform. So we have got in this country 15 lakh schools, 1.5 million schools. More than 70% are in the government sector, remaining are in the private sector. I think in the government sector, the trust has not eroded, but the expectations are not being met. Not meeting the expectation is not equivalent to loss of trust. So the parents may feel that if I have to ensure and get a guarantee and certainty about the future of my children, probably they will say that let's go to the private school. That may be there, but that has nothing to do with the erosion of the trust. Come to the private school, the private school's aspirations of the parents have never been static, 20 years ago, whatever it was, 10 years ago it was more, today it is more, tomorrow it will be more. So I think there is some kind of tension between the expectations and the fulfillment. And whenever there is a tension or gap between the two, that may lead to lack of trust or whatever it is. But by and large, I can tell you, Dr. Ajay, even today, the system is functioning because the trust somewhere, it is hanging between the two. It is not totally disappearing.
Great. You have contributed a position paper to UNESCO on global citizenship education. Be candid. Does the average CBSE school today produces citizens or candidates?
Yeah, so that is exactly the gap is, and that is where the redesigning and reimagination is concerned. And it is not only CBSE schools. It is about, I will tell you a couple of things just to make my point, that the whole purpose of education is under question. So purpose of education right from our ancient period, let's call the Vedic period, till today, was never preparing the child only for the livelihood. It was preparing the child for life. And preparing the child for life is preparing the child for character building, and other qualities that makes you a good citizen, a good human being. It was always there. But in the last 100 years or so, if I can call it, somehow we did not focus on that part, and we thought that the livelihood is very important. And to make livelihood more important, to make it better, we reduced our examination to a scoring of marks. We reduced our education system to coaching, to examination, to marks, to percentages. And everybody is realizing it, that that has not worked. And that is why the new education policy somehow is trying to undo those aberrations. It will take time. I don't think it is going to change overnight. And therefore, to answer your question, we were distracted to a great extent in thinking that if a child gets more marks, goes to coaching, goes to the engineering college, gets a better job, and that's the end of it. No, that has not worked, and that is not marked by the research. The ultimate test of a person's success is your character. And if that character is under tension or a stress, we know the disastrous result and impact on the society.
The IIM Ahmedabad case study on your professional development program at Alcon is one of the few times Indian school leadership has been treated seriously in a management literature. Why does Indian academia still romanticize IIT, IIM, but ignore the school principal as a leader?
Yeah, I agree with you. I have been a school principal, so I know where the shoe pinches exactly. And that is where I would like to, appeal to your viewers that, every parent, you will agree with me, they want the best schools, and they want the best teachers, and they want the best principals. But the same parents do not want their children to become good teachers. That's the tragedy of this country. Top 10% of the university graduates in Finland, they go into teaching. Germany gives the highest accord to the teachers in their country. All the top developing countries. I'll tell you one statistics which you'll be very happy with, that the OECD countries, the top developed countries, economically developed countries as we call them, their schooling system, their education system is the best. And in fact, I have a hypothesis. I have not tested it through research, but there is a point in what I have hypothesized, and that is the economic development of any country goes through the classrooms. You cannot bypass the classrooms if you have to economically develop yourself. Which means they have invested in education, they have invested in the capacity building of the teachers, they have invested in making their educational systems very, very robust. So I think India also has to do it. And earlier days, the teacher had the highest accord, the respect and everything, but that is under decline. There is no doubt about it. There are many reasons, many nuances to it. I will rest my case only by saying here is what Dr. Radhakrishnan said. When we became independent, he gave a very famous statement. And what he meant basically was that the country has to give the teachers the highest accord, look after them, take care of themselves, before you expect anything from them. But at the same time, he also exhorted the teachers that you have to be morally upright. You have to be the exemplars in the society. You have to be the role models to the society. So I think it comes from both sides. The society also has to amend the way it thinks about the teachers, And the teachers also have to take their role different from other roles, because the teaching calls for certain other things in comparison to other professions.
So we talked about the book, we talked about the teacher, his role, his importance in the society. Now let's move to the institution, which is supposed to be commanded by them, built by them. So, as my experience as the counsel, the institutions rise and fall depends on three core values: the management of the institution, the principal, and the parent body. And then it all falls that do they know their legal boundaries? Do they know the system under which they are supposed to operate? So in your long 3 decades of experience, आपने कितनी बार ये देखा कि आपकी संस्था आप इसलिए बचा पाए because you knew your legal boundaries, you had legal clarities of the things.
देखिए, इस पे मेरा एक विमर्श है, और वो ये है, लीगैलिटी इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप. Human relationship based on values, based on common purpose, and in our case, based on the best for the child, can never be put in the cage of legality. And as long as the institution and the parents, they think, they believe, they practice that the common interest is the child, and child is in the center, and both of them start speaking the same language for the future of the child, there will be no problem.
नहीं, ये आइडियलिस्टिक स्थिति है. आई होप इट प्रिवेल्स एवरीवेयर, बट सी comes the month of April, Delhi NC, our parents are in front of the school gates on the issue of fee hike. Writ petitions are filed every May in the High Court. As an educationist, do you think Indian private schools are overcharging, or are they themselves sought for the fund? Because we are talking of best, as you said, but nobody wants to make teachers. Similarly, every parent wants from the, they are not satisfied with the government school, so they come to private. Now in private they want the best. And the moment there is a talk of hike to give that best, there is a uproar.
आपने 40 वर्षों के अनुभव पे डॉक्टर अजय, मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ. आई होप आई विल नॉट बी मिसअंडरस्टूड. पहली बात तो ये है कि एजुकेशन is the responsibility of the government. It is not the responsibility of the private sector. अभी मैंने बताया थोड़ी देर पहले कि देश के 50% बच्चे जो है प्राइवेट स्कूलों में जा रहे हैं. यानी देश या सरकार की 50% जिम्मेदारी प्राइवेट स्कूलों ने उठाई. आप ये मान के चलिए कि आज अगर X अमाउंट एजुकेशन पे खर्च हो रहा है और सारे प्राइवेट स्कूल बंद हो जाएं तो 2x अमाउंट हो जाएगा, जो कि बहुत बड़ा अमाउंट होता है. 3%, 3.25% के आसपास जीडीपी का है, वो सीधे 6% हो जाएगा. और गवर्नमेंट के पास नहीं है. हम पिछले स्वतंत्रता के बाद से 80 वर्षों से कह रहे हैं कि 6% आप एजुकेशन को दे दीजिए. सरकार नहीं दे पाई है, प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट भी नहीं दे पाई. तो मैं कहना ये चाहता हूँ कि अगर प्राइवेट स्कूल्स ये जिम्मेदारी उठा रहे हैं और एज ए पेरेंट आप इन विद्यालयों में अपने बच्चों को भेज रहे हैं, तो आपकी भी कुछ तो जिम्मेदारी होती ही है. तो पहली जिम्मेदारी क्या है? आपने अपनी चॉइस से बच्चों को प्राइवेट स्कूलों में भेजा है, तो लीगैलिटी और नो लीगैलिटी आपने तो ये मान करके बोला ना कि हमें, मेरी पहली जिम्मेदारी है कि हर महीने फ़ीस तो हम जमा कर ही देंगे. तो फीस न जमा करने की क्या वजह है, ये मेरे समझ में आज तक नहीं आया. दिस नंबर 1. नंबर 2, अब ये फीस ज़्यादा है कि कम है? क्या हम 80 वर्ष में ये नहीं तय कर पाए हैं कि एक फ़ीस का क्राइटेरिया क्या होना चाहिए और ज़्यादा और कम का क्या मापदंड है? तो उदाहरण के लिए कम से कम 2 स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं आज की तारीख में भारतवर्ष में, हरियाणा और उत्तर प्रदेश, जिन्होंने फ़ी हाइक के मसले को हमेशा के लिए हल कर दिया। क्या और स्टेट्स उसको फॉलो नहीं कर सकते हैं? कर सकते हैं और करना भी चाहिए, सारी समस्या का हल हो जाएगा। तीसरी बात जो कि बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट बात है मेरे हिसाब से, सरकार का क्या काम है? कम से कम सरकार के अंदर इतना नैतिक बल होना चाहिए कि ये प्राइवेट स्कूल्स मेरी जिम्मेदारी को ये उठा रहे हैं, तो कम से कम अपना संबल तो दीजिए उनको। आपकी सारी सुविधाएं, सारी स्कीम्स, सारी स्कॉलरशिप्स सरकारी स्कूलों के लिए जाती हैं, आपने प्राइवेट स्कूल के लिए कुछ भी नहीं किया। आप देखिए, एक उदाहरण के तौर पे मैं बता रहा हूँ, जो पिछली सरकार थी दिल्ली में, आप सरकार थी ना
जी,
तो आप गवर्नमेंट को ये नहीं पता था कि दिल्ली के आधे बच्चे प्राइवेट स्कूल में जा रहे हैं? तो अपने तो स्कूलों के टीचर्स को, प्रिंसिपल्स को आपने सिंगापुर और इंग्लैंड और फिनलैंड सब जगह भेज के ट्रेनिंग करवाई। क्या प्राइवेट स्कूल को 50 टीचर्स को आप नहीं भेज सकते थे? तो क्या मैसेज दिया आपने जो? तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि सरकार के अंदर एक नैतिकता प्राइवेट स्कूलों को लेके और एक सेंस ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड कि भाई ये वही लोग हैं जो हमारी 50% जिम्मेदारी को निभा रहे हैं और हम इनके लिए कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, बल्कि हम इनको सपोर्ट भी नहीं कर रहे हैं, इनकरेज भी नहीं कर रहे हैं। लेकिन आपके सवाल में जो एक बात थी वो भी मैं इसमें जोड़ दूंगा, क्योंकि इतनी सारी बातें मैंने कही हैं, तो वो भी कहना ज़रूरी है कि अगर कोई मनमाने ढंग से फीस ले रहा है तो सरकार के पास उसकी जांच, उसकी परख और उसकी जो है रेमेडी उपलब्ध है, उसको कराइए। इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम? दुनिया भर की प्रॉब्लम से हम सॉल्व करते ही हैं ना, ये भी सॉल्व हो सकती। तो मेरे कहने का ये मतलब है कि ये फीस को लेकर के और सबके मन में एक ये भ्रांति पैदा करके कि प्राइवेट स्कूल बेतहाशा। मैं आपको एक स्ट्रेटजी बताऊं, आपको बड़ा आश्चर्य होगा। आपको पता है कि एक सरकारी स्कूल में, चाहे वो केंद्रीय विद्यालय हो या दिल्ली सरकार हो या यूपी सरकार हो,
नवोदय हो,
नवोदय तो छोड़ दिया क्योंकि वो रेजिडेंशियल है, अभी मैं डे स्कूलों की बात कर रहा हूँ। तो उन स्कूलों में एक बच्चे के ऊपर ये सारी सरकारें प्रति वर्ष कितना रुपया खर्च करती? 70,000 रुपये से लेके 1 लाख रुपए तक। ये उनका खुद का डेटा ये कह रहा है, 70,000 से 1 लाख रुपए। कितने प्राइवेट स्कूलों में 70,000 रुपये से 1 लाख रुपए की फीस है? और अगर है भी तो वो सुविधा कितनी दे रहे हैं और सरकारी स्कूलों की कितनी सुविधा है?
मतलब ये फीस 70,000 से 1 लाख
प्रति बच्चा प्रति वर्ष ये सरकारें खर्च कर रही।
गुड।
और कब खर्च कर रही हैं? एक क्लास में 60 बच्चे हैं, 70 बच्चे हैं, 80 बच्चे हैं। यानी अगर वो 40 बच्चों की क्लास बनाएं तो ये खर्चा डबल हो जाएगा। तो ये इसके ऊपर शोध होना चाहिए, इसके ऊपर थोड़ी और गहन अध्ययन होना चाहिए और इसके निकालना चाहिए। मैं इस बात से बिल्कुल खुश नहीं हूं, मैं आपको बता दूं। आपको मैं एक बड़ी और जल्दी से बता देता हूं, समय लग रहा है। एक बच्चा जिसके घर में ये नोटिस जाती है कि तुम्हारी फीस नहीं दी है, आप उस बच्चे की मानसिकता पर क्या असर पड़ता है किसी ने सोचा है कभी? वो टीचर्स के सामने फेस नहीं दिखा सकता, और घर में फादर फीस नहीं दे रहा है या मदर, तो उनको वो कुछ कह भी नहीं सकता। तो वो किस मानसिकता, पशोपेश और किस एक कश्मकश से वो बच्चे की ज़िंदगी निकल रही है, आप सोचिए इसके बारे में। तो क्या ये पेरेंट की जिम्मेदारी नहीं है? भाई आपने पढ़ाने की जिम्मेदारी ली है तो फीस तो दीजिए ही ना, जब तक कि उस फीस पे कोई पाबंदी ना हो, कोई उस पे और जांच ना हो, तब तक तो फीस देनी ही चाहिए ना आपको।
लेट्स नॉट ड्वेल इनटू, हमारा एपिसोड लंबा हो जाएगा,
इसीलिए मैं
कि नहीं, मैं इसमें बात करना चाहता था कि भाई 3 सिस्टम है कि भैया या तो जैसे आपने कहा कि स्टेट रेगुलेटर कर दो, जैसे हरियाणा और यूपी ने कर दिया, बात खत्म करो,
खत्म,
या फिर सेंट्रल लॉ बना दो और ही बात ही खत्म करो, या लेफ्ट इट टू मार्केट कंडीशन।
लेफ्ट इट टू मार्केट कंडीशन,
भाई यही 3 है, और तीनों तरह की जजमेंट हैं। टीएमए पाई फाउंडेशन 2002,
उनकी तो जजमेंट की तो धज्जियां उड़ा दी हैं राज्य सरकारों ने। आप ऑटोनॉमी और फीस को लेके उन्होंने बड़ी सुंदर सी बात कही, प्रॉफिट इज नॉट ए क्राइम,
यस,
प्रॉफिटियरिंग इज
ए क्राइम।
तो आप प्रॉफिट और प्रॉफिटियरिंग में ही डिस्टिंक्शन एक कर दीजिए।
जी, उसमें मॉडर्न डेंटल कॉलेज 2016 का भी जजमेंट है कि भैया तुम ठीक है स्टेप इन करो, बट प्रोपोर्शनल तो देखोगे,
बिल्कुल, वही तो
कुछ तो करोगे। तो खैर उसको हम यहीं पे छोड़ते
हाँ,
हैं, लेकिन
बिल्कुल,
हम
मैं
उस पर किसी और
बिल्कुल।
चर्चे में स्पेशल एपिसोड फीस एंड स्कूल्स पेरेंट्स
जी।
पे बात करेंगे। अब एक और बड़ा कंसर्न है, वो है सेफ्टी। पॉस्को इनसाइड द स्कूल गेट, हमने बच्चा भेज दिया, हमारे
बिल्कुल।
कंट्रोल में तो है नहीं एज ए पेरेंट। रेयान इंटरनेशनल का केस आपको याद होगा, अविनाश मेहरोत्रा केस, फिर उसके बाद एनसीपी सीआर गाइडलाइंस आ गए। आपको लगता है कि इन स्कूल्स आर सेफर फॉर चिल्ड्रन टुडे, और हम पेरेंट्स ज़्यादा डरे हुए
नहीं, पेरेंट्स डरे हुए हैं,
पैरानॉइड हैं?
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है। अब हर बच्चा जो है सेफ रहे, ये तो हर पेरेंट चाहेगा और हर विद्यालय को भी चाहिए। तो मैं तो यही कहूँगा कि सेफ्टी को लेकर के देयर इज़ नो कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ एंड देयर इज़ नो कंसेशन एंड देयर इज़ नो नेगोशिएशन। पेरेंट पैरानॉइड हो न हो, दैट इज़ अ डिफरेंट थिंग, बट एज अ प्रिंसिपल और एज अ मैनेजर ऑफ ए स्कूल, इट इज़ माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। एवरी पेरेंट जैसे ही उसने गेट पे छोड़ा, वो आप कह रहे थे ना ट्रस्ट, वो ट्रस्ट के कारण छोड़ा है, ट्रस्ट न होने की वजह से नहीं छोड़ा है। तो उस ट्रस्ट को हमें बिलाई नहीं करना है और हमें सारे स्टेप्स लेने हैं। इसमें तो कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ ही नहीं, नो कॉम्प्रोमाइज़।
चलिए, सो दी स्टूडेंट इज सेफ इन योर हैंड्स इनसाइड योर गेट। आप पॉस का टेक
हाँ,
केयर कर रहे
पॉक्सो है, दुनिया भर की चीज़ें हैं
जी।
और वो हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। नहीं है तो उसके लिए तो आप लॉ आप जानते ही हैं।
जी। फिर एक और एक्ट आ गया है आजकल जो आपके ऊपर 100% अप्लाई करता है, वो है पॉस। पॉस्को से पॉस 13
फॉर सेक्सुअली हैरेसमेंट।
यस, एट द वर्क प्लेस। बट आज भी बहुत सारे स्कूलों में इट्स मियर कॉस्मेटिक, इट डजंट एग्जिस्ट द वे इट शुड एग्जिस्ट। बहुत सारे स्कूलों में इंटरनल कमेटी नहीं है, ट्रेनिंग नहीं है। तो आई वॉन्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड योर व्यू बोथ एज द लीडर and from the principal perspective and from the director perspective, because then you represent the management side of it. Is still POS is a paper formality for the schools?
If you include not only schools but other organizations also, because this is for all the other organizations.
Yes.
विशाखा कमेटी के जो विशाखा रिपोर्ट आई वो तो सबके लिए है
जी।
तो आप तो बड़े बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशंस में भी चले जाइए, आपको नहीं मिलेगा।
Yes, you see TCS.
आप देख लीजिए।
You saw TCS just now.
तो इसलिए हमें इस दायरे को थोड़ा बढ़ाना पड़ेगा कि अभी हमारे अंदर इन सब चीज़ों को लेके एक सेंसिटिविटी पैदा नहीं हुई है और एक जो हमारा एटीट्यूड है ना, जिसे हम हिंदुस्तान में कहते हैं, बड़ा प्राइड के साथ कहते हैं, चलता है। तो ये चलता है एटीट्यूड का ये रैमिफिकेशन है। और विद्यालयों में तो ख़ास तौर से जहाँ पे हमें एक चरित्र निर्माण की और उस बच्चे की जीवन की जहाँ हम बुनियाद रख रहे हैं, वो तो जगह इन सब चीज़ों के लिए रोल मॉडल होनी चाहिए। तो सभी स्कूलों में ऐसा है मैं नहीं मानता। और एक ये पेपर फॉर्मेलिटी कह लीजिए या ऐसी फॉर्मेलिटी कह लीजिए कि जब तक कोई हादसा ना हो जाए तब तक सब ठीक है। तो इसके बारे में सेंसिटिविटी होनी चाहिए, पूरी इसकी शिक्षा होनी चाहिए, इसकी गाइडलाइन बननी चाहिए और इसके ऊपर इंस्पेक्शन होना चाहिए। और अगर नहीं है तो ये गलत।
यहीं से एक कंट्राडिक्शन की तरफ हम बढ़ते हैं कि एक तरफ पॉस्को है जो मैंडेटरी रिपोर्टिंग की बात करता है, इवन इफ यू आर नॉट ए इन्वॉल्व पार्टी, यू हैव कम टू नो अबाउट इट, यू हैव टू रिपोर्ट। अब आप ठहरे टीचर, ट्रस्ट की जो बात हमने करी, तो वहाँ पे आपका एक तरफ कानून है जो मैंडेटरी रिपोर्टिंग की बात कर रहा है, दूसरी तरफ उस बच्चे का कैरियर है, फ्यूचर है, आपका ट्रस्ट फैक्टर है। तो टीचर को एक कंट्राडिक्टरी पोजीशन में ये लॉ डालता है कि वो रिपोर्ट करे या बच्चे का ट्रस्ट जो उसमें है उसको बरकरार रखे, पेरेंट्स का ट्रस्ट बरकरार रखे। अगर वो चुप है तो वो जेल जाए, और अगर वो बोलता है तो फिर जो आप लार्जर कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस की फीस की नोटिस पे, तो जब ये मेंटल स्टेटस है।
हाँ,
तो ऐसी स्थिति में और क्या होगा? ट्रस्ट फैक्टर है। तो हाउ ए यंग टीचर, एज ए सीनियर टीचर नाउ, ए वेटरन, नेविगेट दिस पोजीशन?
difficult है, but we are living in different times today, and therefore we will have to be sensitive to this, and there is no escaping this. There is no escaping this, and therefore the teachers, even the children also, when they are involved in it, I think we have to create an ecosystem in which what is a desired behavior, we should all know that, and what are the consequences of violating that desired behavior, that also we should. And many schools are doing it very successfully. When we know that offense number one means this consequence, offense number two means this consequence, the children over a period of time, they learn to live with that. And then that moral dilemma which you are referring to of the teacher does not come in the way, because children know it, parents know it. And it happens in case of using unfair means, that is also a crime, na? Or a violation of the desired behavior. But children know that if I'm found using unfair means, this is the consequence. Why there is no controversy about that? Parents also accept it, and children also accept it. And children are not angry with the teacher why you reported it. So I think that will extend to every such thing when we make it part of our system.
जब वहाँ से हम आगे बढ़ते हैं तो फिर एक मेंटल हेल्थ,
Mental health is a big problem.
बुलिंग,
Bullying, yes.
सुसाइड।
Yeah.
कोटा तो कोचिंग टाउन है,
Yeah.
वहाँ सुसाइड्स होते हैं, उसकी बड़ी बातें होती हैं, बट सुसाइड्स स्टार्ट्स हैपनिंग मच अर्लियर इन स्कूल, इन CBSE क्लास 10th. As a former physics teacher, now as a teacher I'm asking this question, do you blame the curriculum, the parent, or the teacher, or the phone culture?
For what? For suicide culture?
Mental health
Mental
and
health.
suicide.
You see, I mean, we cannot simplify mental health issues so easily, because mental health issues come from several quarters. You know, the one thing that you are referring to is that it is coming from a stress of syllabus, stress of curriculum, stress of cracking the exam or the coaching. That could be one, but there are several other sources of that mental health also. The family structure, the nuclearization of families, you know, the absence of adults around you who could lean their shoulders to you, and also the dispute between the parents. There are so many things, you know. Sometimes the unfortunate, the financial crisis in the family, the health crisis in the family. There could be several reasons for that, and that is why. And moreover, the recent times there is a lot of surge in the children suffering from teachers. I mean, 20 years ago, we did not have this rampantness of the problem among the teacher. But now the teachers are also coming from, they are the products of the same ecosystem. They also have that problem. So I think there are variety of reasons for that. And that is why this is one area where we have to focus. And that is why the well-being should be the first and foremost purpose of our educational services. That are we taking good care of well-being? And for that, can we come back to a stage where the mindfulness, the contemplation, the reflection, the focus on music and art and performing things, these things were missing in the last 70, 80 years. And that is why bringing them all back to work for the complete development of the personality is the answer to these questions.
But as we discussed, Kibai, there are so many reasons for this mental health, which is one of the reasons of the suicide.
Yeah.
But when a suicide happens in the school, parents straight away start blaming the teacher, humiliating the institution. Now, it's debatable why it happened. But straight away, the first target is the teacher and the school. So, do you think that legally, morally, who should be on the hook for these suicides?
Well, if you, I mean, since it is a very, very sensitive issue, every suicide is unfortunate. We have to understand the pain and agony of those who suffer this kind of thing. But I would say, in all honesty, that there must be a legal protection to the teaching community against where. But I tell you, some very fine judgments have come from the high courts because most of these things happen in the states, and the high courts are taking a very consistent position that even rebuking a child would not be construed as abetment to suicide. So I think there is a legal remedy, there is a lot of protection, but of course it causes tension, it causes a stress, and it's very difficult to argue with a parent who has lost his or her near and dear one, and it is a first reflection. But as the things sink down, as the tempers cool, people do realize it. But in the extreme situation, as you said, I think there must be a legal remedy to it.
So, what the school or the school management should do to build that shield for the teacher? See, we are
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so what you are hinting at is that the management should not leave the teacher in a lurch and should not leave them in a position where they fend for themselves. I think they should stand behind them rock solid.
That's great. But then are the today's principal equipped? Because let's talk about this Avinash Mehrotra case of Delhi. What were the faults which was found? There was no documented counseling protocol in the school. Should the management and the teacher must develop it?
Yeah.
So
Of
that
course.
in case of need, because see, just saying that the management stand by, but management stand is hiring a counsel,
Yeah.
fighting the case. And the counsel will fight the case based on the facts.
Yeah.
So here we, as a lawyer, I am talking, my perspective, कि भैया आपके स्कूल में डॉक्यूमेंटेड काउंसलिंग प्रोटोकॉल था ताकि जज साहब को दिखाया जा सके कि भैया ऐसा हुआ, हमने ये किया. वो है नहीं तो आप unnecessarily you are in trouble of no mistake. Is there is a mechanism called escalation log कि भाई log 1 पे, log 2 पे, 3 पे कोई ट्रेंड काउंसलर ऑन रोल रखा है स्कूल ने? और अगर ये तीनों चीज़ें आपके स्कूल में नहीं हैं और फिर देयर इज एन FIR एंड यू वांट टू कंटेस्ट दैट, how you will come out of it?
Yeah,
or
you will
how
not come out. So that is what I'm saying, that the schools have to develop their protocol in a manner which is aligned with the present needs. That's what I said before. And but one more thing I can tell you, I'm saying it in a very lighter vein, but it has also opened a new scope for the lawyers in this country. I must tell you that because I remember 20 years, 25 years ago, if I have to give a notice or memo, I didn't consult anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. Whatever I felt right, I did it. Today, you cannot write a simple 2-line memo to a teacher without consulting a lawyer.
but
That is the problem, you
yes,
see.
प्रॉब्लम उससे बड़ा है ना, बिकॉज जैसे ही ये बच्चे को लेके आती है ना तो ये लॉ और स्ट्रिक्ट हो जाता है.
बच्चे के अलावा टीचर्स भी.
हाँ.
आज की तारीख में आप टीचर्स को एक अगर शो कॉज नोटिस दीजिए तो वो टीचर अपने आप जवाब नहीं देती है उसका.
Oh, yes, we have seen cases like Geo Varghese versus the state of Rajasthan,
yeah.
221 में.
तो वो हैं, वो सारे तो मेरे ख्याल में aberrations हैं, and people are learning to live with that.
तो जैसे हम 20 साल पहले की बात में ये चेंज हो गया, तो अभी जो नया जनरेशन हमारा जिससे आप डील कर रहे हैं, स्मार्टफोन जनरेशन,
Of course.
वायरल क्लिप, व्हाट्सएप वॉर, जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट फिल्म से टीचर लूजिंग अ टेम्पर, अभी आपने यूपी में देखा, फीस के सवाल पे पता नहीं उस मैडम को 1 घंटे में तो 14 सेकंड का ये क्लिप तुरंत पे वायरल हो गया स्कूल में. टीचर, और वो आगे पीछे कुछ नहीं है, कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या है, वो सिर्फ टीचर का चिल्लाता हुआ 14 सेकंड का वीडियल है. टीचर बेचारा 14 घंटे में 6 घंटे में सस्पेंड. सोशल मीडिया ने क्या टीचिंग अनडूएबल बना दिया है स्कूल.
डिफिकल्ट तो होता जा रहा. In a country like ours where already there is a deficiency of teachers, people do not take teaching as the choice, first choice of their career. If these things come in a very, very rampant manner, it will discourage. I will tell you the results from America are very scary. Most of the American teachers are leaving their jobs. There is a crisis of teachers there. I think we are heading to the same if these things continue. So as a country, we have to think that how to protect the teachers, how to make this profession also very safe, how teachers feel safe, and how to regain that relationship between teacher and taught for which we were known. I will tell you, in 1985, when I was a young teacher, one American professor wrote a letter to me that, Ashok, I'm so surprised that there is so much of respect for teachers in your country, which we have lost for many years. And I said, thank you very much. But after 10 years, you will not say the same thing to me even about India. And that has happened, unfortunately.
उसमें हम
So-
चीज़ों को और कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं कर रहे
कर
हैं,
रहे हैं।
अपने टीचर्स को हम एक्सपोज नहीं कर रहे हैं बाय मेकिंग द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप.
Yeah, कर रहे हैं, कर. We have to.
Because there, if the teacher writes something, and as a parent, I take her to under defamation.
Yeah. There is, of course, yeah.
So that legal thing again, I am coming back. Are the schools not unknowingly or knowingly opening the new battleground for themselves? For
Schools are
teaching?
not opening the battlegrounds. Battlegrounds are being laid because of the circumstances and because of the legal remedies and answers for everything. There is no mediation, there is no one-on-one talk, and that may be, in a way triggered by the declining trust which we discussed earlier. So since we are not talking to each other, we think that, okay, let us go to the court.
So do you allow your children to, or you support use of ChatGPT, AI?
Of course. You think that anybody is waiting for my permission to use that? So they are using it, yeah.
So that again open up new battlefield. AI, data,
Yeah.
the Data Protection Act, school will come under these laws, which was earlier not there.
Yeah.
Because under Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, child is a special data case. So now the schools were out of this purview
Yeah.
because of this under one new law.
Yeah.
So how you react to it once breach of this happens, then now so far you are under the individual territory of litigation.
Yeah.
Now you are opening up to the class territory of class suits, of the mass suits. How you visualize this danger and this challenge?
Yeah, so I think probably a new new book on understanding law and developing sensitivity to it is required. I think that is the only answer to this.
Now we will go for a crossfire.
Okay, fine.
So it happens that for any failure, maybe the management is at fault, but the principal is the target of the litigating parent. An aggressive media targets him. A regulator, which we were talking of, a state, they only saw after disaster. So is the Indian principal job under threat?
Oh yes, I am not the principal for the last 5 years, and I thank myself every day that thank God I am not the principal anymore. Since it is a rapid fire round, I am not giving the long answers to this.
No, but this exception one I would like to hear from a principal,
So
so
today's
that the other principal listening could
so no, I
take
would
a
not
cue.
like to discourage them, but everything that we have discussed in the last half an hour, that all adds to the responsibility of the principals, and that is why I tell you, the principal's job is to drive culture and learning on the campus. Principal's job is to master the pedagogy on the campus, to build character. But principals do not have time for this. They have become administrators, appear for litigation, listen to the problems, ensure that the buses run on time. So it is more of a managerial job that unfortunately they have been reduced to, whereas their job is to lead the culture of learning on the campus.
So, building on that, in your experience, when a management throws a principal under the bus, what do you wish that principal had done 6 months ago to escape this situation, to come out of this? What's the lesson from you?
I mean, all managements are not like that. There may be some exceptions after all. As I said, 50, 15 crore children are going to private schools. So it is not that bad, I can tell you. But yes, there is a tension definitely between the new role of the management and the role of the principal and the separation of responsibilities. There are tensions. There are tensions, and that is why principals are very scared of taking up a position.
So, before getting into that yes, no round, fire round, I think one more important thing I would like to ask from you, this RTE Act, 25% EWS. State not supporting, private institution taking their responsibility, expenses per student per year X compared to private, and on top of it, putting this, that you have to include them, politics of inclusion. It was meant to be integrating those poor students. But is it happening after a decade? Are they getting integrated with the system for which this act was intended at? Or there is a practical parallel track inside the school?
No, there is no parallel track. Wherever the law has been implemented, they are integrated. They are in the classrooms. So that is not an issue. The issue is with the state governments. Many state governments did not implement it for good 8 years, 7 years, because they knew that their budgetary allocation does not permit them to reimburse it to the private schools.
Yes, that is also an issue.
This is number one. Number two, and some state governments took a principled decision, which I liked, that if I have a vacancy in my school, then why you should not study in my school? When I'm overflowing, I have a shortage or a crisis of a vacancy in my school, then only you go to the private. So that was a principled decision. But I think the honorable courts in this country should take this suo moto, cognizance of the fact that if this law is there, it is inherent in that law that the state governments will reimburse the fee to the private schools. And if they are not reimbursing, is it not a violation of that law? Who will sit on this judgment? And who is supposed to sit and not sitting on the judgment? That is the question. So the state government has to reimburse those 25% at the rate at which a general candidate is paying in that fee. Even those state governments which are reimbursing, they are reimbursing 1/3 or 1/4 of the fee. And they don't reimburse it. In one state, the private schools and mosques decided not to admit only on one reason, that for 6 years their reimbursement has not happened. Now, why the court should not intervene and sort it out? It means who is not interested in the integration, inclusion, and a high quality education for these children? It is those state governments are not interested. We can't blame the schools for that. So these are some of the stark realities nobody really talks about. That's my pain.
So that opens up a window for a PI.
Of course. Yeah. I think of all the PLAs that I have come to know of, this is one which should be on top.
Let's foresee Supreme Law takes it up in coming days. So we talked about teachers, we talked about school, we talked about management, we talked about law, we talked about challenges. तो हमारा सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट स्टेक होल्डर है बेचारा स्टूडेंट, वो रह गया है. तो फायर राउंड में हम उनको कवर करते हैं.
कर ली.
होमवर्क, यस और नो?
नो.
Board exams at class 10, keep, scrap or reform.
Reform.
CCTV in classroom, privacy violation or parental rights.
No CCTV in classrooms.
Should corporal punishment ever be allowed?
No.
Is the National Education Policy 2020 a real reform or a rebranding exercise?
Reform.
Should principal be impaneled like judges through an independent body?
What does it mean? Their appointment?
Yes, there is principals impaneled.
Uh-huh.
School needs, go and take from the panel. Like
I-
judges we have.
How many judges you have in this country? You can impanel them. That too is a controversial. It should be collegium or it should be something like that.
Yes,
Who will impanel it? So I think we should not get into that controversy because here we are talking about 15 lakh principals.
And principal job is
Yes, so-
becoming undoable. So, I
no,
talked about
no
this.
impanelment. Yeah.
Is the parent always right?
No, not at all. Nobody is always right.
One thing, if I ask you, every Indian school must stop doing from tomorrow.
Every Indian school?
Must stop doing from tomorrow.
I mean,
If
you are
you are-
asking what?
Yes, one thing which school must stop doing from tomorrow, if you are given that right to ensure. What is
yeah.
that?
So, no weightage for high percentages. No weightage.
And one thing, because being a principal and leader, you are a parent or two. So one thing every Indian parent you would like stop doing from tomorrow.
So, the Indian parents, not to stop in the sense they should start doing. That please talk to your children when they come home. Give them time. Share your stories and listen to their stories.
Great. If Prime Minister Narendra Modi gets impressed by your book and he asks you to draft the next education chapter, your first sentence of that chapter.
Teach children only about character, at least 1 month every year.
So, sir, before we close this episode, let's leave our viewers with something they can actually use tomorrow morning.
I assume that your viewers are all adults, all educated people. They are all responsible and respected citizens of this country. So with this assumption, I am telling that what they should do from tomorrow is that they should start respecting every young child they come across and imbue in them at least one good quality which they have learned in their lives. That is my request to the adults of this country. That is what every adult owes to the young children of this nation.
For a principal, waking up in the night, finding a viral video crisis, what is the first 30 minutes playbook? What he should do?
He should meditate for 5 minutes. And if he has woken up in the middle of the night, he should complete his sleep also. The word would not fall in the next 10-20 minutes. And if really that situation demands an urgent action, in his full mindedness, in his full capacity, with all his advisors at his command, he should take a call on this.
Great.
But don't get panic.
And what you would say to a teacher facing a frivolous parent complaint, where the law backs her?
Offer a lot of water to the parent. You also drink a lot of water. And even in the extremity of provocation, don't get provoked. The only medicine which works in situations like this is your ability to listen. Just listen, just listen, and just listen.
For a school honor, planning a new campus in 2026, what is the one thing as an educationist you would like to tell him?
About somebody who is starting a
planning
school.
a school You are an educationist, you are a leader. So, what you would like to tell that honor of this school?
I'll tell that owner of the school, I don't know what is the objective you have in your mind when you have started this school. But at least for God's sake, put it in your objectives list, either on top or somewhere in between, that you are in nation building exercise. You are building for the nation. And therefore, please do not do anything which comes in the way of nation building and character building. That's my advice.
Great. So, you told me about your American friend, the respect the teacher used to command, and you said 25 years
Yeah,
down the line,
less than that.
what will happen? So, you again takes me back to your book and this lamp, igniting lamps. This lamp is going to outlast both of us.
Thank you.
In 25 years from now, when neither of us will be in this room, what should be the Indian classroom look like, feel like, sound like?
I think in next 25 years, Dr. Ajay, India will be a much better country than what it is today. And therefore, the classrooms will also be better. And what would be, I cannot predict, but I can certainly wish what it should be. It should be a model classroom where all children are learning. There is no discrimination. Everybody's future is secure. And the teachers and students are together learning. Not that only children are learning and the teachers are not learning. It is, I will tell you the Sanskrit prayer, Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunakt. So they have to learn together, they have to grow together, they have to shine together. And that prayer goes on to say, Tejasvinavadhitamastu. They have to shine together. Ma vidvishavahai. There is no animosity between the teacher and the daughter. I think that is the ideal wish for an Indian classroom.
Before we close this episode, Dr. Pandey, what is one ask you will have from the parents today watching this episode, the teacher watching it, the principal watching it? So one ask, I ask you to ask from them, what will be that one ask before we close?
First, the parent. Your children are your children, you are the parents, nobody can deny it. But at least once in a while you think that your child is the child of the universe also. And therefore, what are the qualities that we have to imbue our children with when he or she is going to be the child of the universe? I think that is one thought that the parents have to have in mind. As far as teachers are concerned, I think since these children are your reward, please give to those children which they will remember when they are in some adverse situation. So how will they handle adversity? Prepare them for that. Principal is also a teacher. Principal also has to keep in mind. But of course, you are the head teacher and your responsibilities are more. I think you hold the hand of the teachers and build in them that kind of a leadership and that kind of quality where your every teacher sees the divinity in the child, respects that divinity, and prepares that divinity for the future.
And finally, you have spent 3 decades in the classroom. I have spent 3 decades in politics, media, and in law. What one thing you wish more lawyers, more politicians, more media people understands about schools, and what one thing you wish educationists understood about law?
Students and teachers, they don't know anything about law. And I will not be very impolite, but I will tell you, all lawyers and everybody, they have gone through the schools. But what actually happens in the school, when they become adults, they forget it. and then everybody becomes an expert when it comes to schooling, it comes to teacher taught relationship. Everybody is an expert. I think they should pause a bit and allow schools to function as places of happiness, places of resilience, places of innovation, places of play, places of fun. I think that is what schools deserve.
Sir, on behalf of 1,25,000 viewers of 4C Supreme Law and the lakhs more who will discover this conversation in the weeks to come, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was for me both an education and a privilege.
Thank you
Coming back once again to the core topic of today, igniting our billion lamps.
Thank you.
I hope it is available on Amazon.
Oh yes, it is available on Amazon.
The link
we can give the link. Yeah.
Yes, we will provide the link in the description below.
Yes.
And if you have a child in a school, a teacher in the family, or a stake in the educational institution in this country, I personally recommend this is a must.
Thank you very much for your kind endorsement.
Please order a copy. It's not a long book, but definitely it is a wise one.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
My call to my viewers, if a school is sitting on your kitchen table tonight, before you take it to parent WhatsApp group, take it to a written complaint, before you take it to a magistrate, what sir was saying, remember your school days, your fun days. So before rushing to a state commission to a protection of child rights, or before closing all the doors, go out and talk to your child teacher.
Yeah.
And talk to child within yourself, because law is for crisis and your child is definitely not the crisis. Had he been a crisis, he should not be in this world, and had you not been a trust, you should have not left him on the school gates.
Yeah.
So relieve that trust. Go back to the school, remember your days before hitting the court for a lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's like this channel, subscribe it. If you haven't yet, please ring the bell, because the algorithm decides that such good stories travels far and fast. With this, we bring this special episode to the close. This was Dr. Ajay Kummar Pandey, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, with you. We would be back with another episode, with another guest in our next episode. Till that time, goodbye. Jai Hind, Jai Hindustan, Jai Samvidhan.